it. All right, here we are. 1E. My name is Josh Thompson. I am the Vice President of Product Marketing, and I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Distinguished Solutions Engineer, Doug Hynes. I'll do the intros again because I know it's probably going to be a little bit as people click in and log on. But what's happening here is we decided we wanted to do a live stream to talk about the new AI initiatives and what he has done with AI and what we've announced in the year. So I spend a lot of time giving this presentation in multiple different ways. I'm speaking with executives and directors, kind of showing the vision of it. I'm joined today by Doug, who is, like I said, a distinguished sales and solutions engineer, and he's on the front lines. He's in the mix, dealing with it every day with admins, showing it, POVs, demos, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot happening around AI right now. And we wanted to take a moment to kind of give you these two perspectives, kind of give you the high level vision version of it, and to let Doug get us into the details of AI and what we're doing with AI and what differentiates us there. So Doug, what do you when you started having these conversations? I mean, you've been doing this job for a long time. You're good at what you do, right? How has that evolved, kind of pre-AI, pre-ChatGPT, and now as AI is becoming more and more of table stakes in a product in some form or fashion? What are you seeing? What are you seeing out there?
Well, Josh, thanks for having me today. And it's a great question. Where we started out was back in the stone age of IT is we just need to know what's going on in the environment. We need to collect some data. Okay, great. We have basic understanding of maybe performance of applications and hardware. And then we moved into, okay, that's not enough anymore. Just knowing that the lights are green, we don't have any yellows, we don't have any reds, is not a problem. But the end user is still complaining. I don't know if you've ever heard of the watermelon effect. Everything is green on the outside, red on the end. Okay, now we introduce the voice of the end user. Fantastic. Now we have true understanding that the end user is feeling pain, along with the digital side of things, saying there is pain. However, marrying that is still sometimes a bit of a bugbear. Now, the two little letters, A and I, really kind of blew up on the scene. And everybody's asking, where is 1E plugging AI into their platform? As you said, it's table stakes. It's not are you going to, it's where and how are you going to. And part of today's conversation, I'm looking forward to being able to bring to a larger market just exactly the work that we've been doing here.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Yeah, that's exactly it. When we were doing the product discovery over a year ago, we realized there's some real challenges there. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to take a step back and think about how do we solve DEX problems, so digital employee experience problems, in a unique way to 1E. How do we avoid from rushing straight into the ChatGPT integration, generative AI integration, but actually use AI to drive an outcome that is important to our customers and to the market and where we believe the market was going. So a couple things that happened there is, about a little history lesson here, right? So about 2.5 years ago, when he hired a new CTO, his name is Ian Van Reenen, and he came in and I think it was a brave stance, but he put his foot down and said, hey, we need to rebuild this platform in a cloud native way so that we can be ready when the future comes. I don't know if we knew it was going to be AI like it is now, but what that decision and that investment 2.5 years ago did is it brought us to this moment, this inflection point, this convergence of these two things, which allows us to solve problems and deliver AI in a unique way, right? So if we take a step back from that, if we think about one of the problems that we were seeing is, we went all in on DEX. We are very clearly a DEX, a digital employee experience vendor. And the challenge with DEX that we saw from the beginning is we have, like Doug just mentioned, we have IT organizations who are used to this traditional EUC world where you're just paying attention to the reds, yellows, and greens and solving issues as they pop up. And it's ones and zeros. It's very technical, and they're trying to make very clear and good decisions based on real objective data. But the challenge with the DEX concept is, okay, well, how do you actually bring the user front and center in the decision-making process? And so what we did, and what a lot of vendors in the space did, is we added the sentiment capability. So this capability to survey employees and find out how they're feeling. But that still was a challenge. That still was tough, and it's very vital. But what we heard from our customers is, this is really good for reactive actions. This is really good for retrospectives. But the challenge is it's really hard to understand what people want. The joke I make is, if I, in a room full of people, if I tell everybody that I'm going to give them $5, some people are going to be happy and say, "Oh, thank you for $5." Some people are going to be upset that I didn't give them $10, and some people are going to be upset that I gave them any money at all. And the problem is the IT organizations really don't have the expertise or time to collect enough data in the traditional, survey to make really strong strong decisions based on subjective data. So now let's bring these two things together. Now we have these convergence of ideas, right? We have this cloud native platform. We have a distributed architecture for real-time response, which is a unique thing for the way that our technology is built. And so what we did is we said, okay, how do we solve this problem in a unique way? And how do we solve this problem in a way that where the rubber meets the road, it actually drives the DEX concept forward? And so from there, we now have, announced in the last couple of months, we've announced this hybrid edge AI strategy with 1E Intelligence. We have our intelligent insights and intelligent sentiment. And what that does is, I'll zoom right in on the intelligent sentiment, is that brings that granularity out for each and every employee, each and every digital worker. And it provides the objective data that can be married to the subjective data to then make decisions for IT organizations, to make decisions and bring the end user front and center in the decision-making process in a way that they hadn't done before. So this was really we noticed that this was a gap in that kind of evolution from end user computing to digital workplace, our digital employee experience thinking and model. And we're really excited to see our early customers getting off the ground and using this technology to bring that forward and to start to really bring the employee front and center in that decision process. So Doug, you're doing POVs all the time. You're doing demos a lot. You're talking to customers. That story I just told, that resonates really well to the executives. Fits with a lot of ITs around, or a lot of initiatives around things like frictionless IT and things of the like. What are you seeing? What are the questions they're asking you? What is the feedback? And maybe if you're able to, maybe show us the product a little bit and just talk about what is really important to those, when the rubber meets the road, to the IT organizations actually deploying this and using it in their environments.
Thanks, Josh. And actually, it's a great question, is what is the rubber meets the road? How is this better than what we already have? Okay, great, you're plugging in AI. Appreciate that it's not just a rebrand or a white label of ChatGPT, but what is it you're actually doing? And honestly, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So if you'll forgive me, I'm going to jump into the product just a little bit, because that's what.
Yeah, let's see it. I love it.
So. Go ahead and share the screen. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Where the rubber meets the road, where we differentiate intelligent sentiment from what I would call the previous way of looking at surveys, is we're looking at the marriage between the digital and the analog, or as you said, the quantitative and qualitative. When you're looking at the data and you're detecting anomalies, you're detecting some sort of detriment technologically. Again, those green, yellow, red lights, we know that things are going south on a technological or a service standpoint. Great. Now we can start to say we're believing that this is going to lead to a impairment of the user's day to day. And we can actually take what we've gathered from those AI initiatives and say, Mr. and Mrs. End user, we believe that this particular thing is going to cause an issue. We see that you're having a slowdown, you're seeing apps crash. Is this actually causing you detriment to your environment? And target specific questions, not how do you feel about IT? Don't get me wrong, Josh, those are great questions to ask.
Those are important too.
Those are important too, but when you are the person who has to resolve the issue, those targeted ones and being able to reduce the noise, reduce the audience down to the people who are truly feeling pain. And when I say pain, there are times where you can have an anomaly that truly is a problem, but in the end user, it doesn't affect their day to day. Like,
Yeah.
sure, you may be seeing bad blocks on a hard drive, and eventually that drive's going to fail, but it's not failing yet, and I can continue doing my day to day. It's not affecting the end user. We can drop ship them a drive, get them reimaged, and hopefully get them back up and running without having them down in an emergency. And that's what we're seeing with our sentiment survey versus the intelligent sentiment. We're aligning those anomalies to the sentiment that the end user is saying and saying, this is where the data is aligning, that there is a truly a pain and a problem. Go look into the events and the anomalies that are happening here. And when I say look into the events and anomalies, there's two different ways that we're starting to bubble that up. I mean, if we ignore all the other wonderful things we have, and if we just had this dashboard, Josh, we already have some breadcrumbs of where we want to go and figure out. We have the top common problems that people are putting into those surveys. We're responding in the, yes, I am feeling pain, and it's specifically here. If you open up the Pandora's box, which is always dangerous, free text, and you allow people to put in the words around what they're feeling, and they can actually put in things, and you see them bubble up in significant words. So the number of users that are repeatedly saying Teams is my issue, or I'm seeing slowdowns on my machine, having Outlook problems. Those common words will start to jump out at you, even if they aren't being aligned with the anomalies, which then would lead you to, great, I now know where people are having a problem. I want to go fix it, but maybe I don't know where to start. We've also introduced the 1E Assistant, which is an AI tool allowing you to search in our library of capabilities where you might be able to have that drop point. So applications are responding slowly. Great. I'm having run slow. And thank goodness for spell check, because these days I depend on it. How can I fix these? And what this is going to do is search in our number of automations, a number of real-time remediations and investigations, and say, okay, where can we start looking at things? We're having some slow apps, could be related to potentially some low disk space. Whenever you're trying to install patches, one of the biggest problems is around not having enough disk space to actually download the patches. It could be that you are seeing those different bad blocks. Whatever the case may be, you could even pick that big word Teams. I'm having Teams issues. How can I fix these? Ask it that. Again, it'll go back and look in where you might be able to start putting intelligent fixes, research, insight, get these people back to a happy working fashion. So clearing Teams cache, these events, checking the Teams log, all great things that if you didn't know we had the capability for, now the AI assistant is leading you from data telling you there's a problem, where can I start searching, now using the rest of the platform to mitigate a positive effect inside your environment. And that's really what I'm telling my customers, Josh, is don't just stare at the problem. Use our tools to start fixing the problem.
Yeah, absolutely, Doug. I love that. I love seeing that. I'm hearing a lot of really great feedback around those concepts. And, one of the things I mentioned at the beginning that I want to highlight, here too is, and I get maybe your thoughts on it if you're hearing the same feedback when you're speaking to customers and prospects, is the idea of the hybrid edge AI concept, right? Which is having the AI model for intelligent sentiment on the endpoint using our distributed architecture, and having the AI model for intelligent insights in the cloud, where we start to aggregate all that data and learn from things and drive, more than you definitely clicked on, but like the insights on the right column, right? We start to learn over time and have really deep knowledge of that collected data in the cloud. But then on the edge itself, we're driving that intelligent sentiment. So the information around the sentiment of the end user. How are you seeing that reacted to in the market? Or does it stand out, from my presentations, it normally stands out as a differentiator, where especially kind of having that both of those models, the cloud version and the edge version. Are you seeing something similar?
They are asking questions around that. It's like when you hear edge AI, people ask, well, what does that mean? When you
Yeah.
hear edge architecture, what are you talking about? And really that starts to go under the covers and starts talking about how we can operate by making the endpoint smart. And it's no AI joke, pardon the puns, dad jokes aside. The endpoint is smart in the way that we look at how we put the 1E agent on things, the 1E client on things. We make sure that it's empowered to be able to respond, collect data, and then feed that back in that AI loop to say there's a problem, and here are ways that we can fix it, as well as let the end user know IT is already aware of it and we're implementing some issues. In some cases, we've even seen people use the AI suggestions as a shift left technology.
Yes.
So we're recognizing at the edge that there's a problem, responding to an event on the edge, and then providing resolutions right there and then, not having to wait for a process, being reviewed up in the cloud, and then eventually sending something down to the endpoint. So that edge initiative has been so powerful to end users because it happens in real time as the end user is feeling the pain.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said shift left. I had that in my notes to bring up too, around driving shift left into, which is our main, calling card, our main, message in the market is around autonomous decks, as we're driving to this autonomous delivery of digital employee experience. And what we see there is we see the need for driving predictive insights, seamless IT operations, work style analytics, bringing that all in. And what we found is that we have this extremely powerful platform that we can create remediations and automations and very deep knowledge. And that's good. But by adding this AI layer on top, now we have kind of created this like product level layer where organizations can use it and have all that information brought front and center to them, and use it and kind of the easy button, if you will, to use the power of that platform. But then have the ability to really dig in and create and customize and build automations and build workflows and really dig deep into the root cause analysis of what's happening. Do you see that at all? Do you see that, like, how do you see that separation between the AI layer, bringing it all front and center? This is where I start my day. This is where I get my information. To then like the concept of really being able to use the power of the full platform where we can connect all kinds of different things.
It removes the data paralysis, if you will.
Yeah.
Like I could come in the morning and use our traditional tools that we've always had and make best decisions with 60% of the information. That's what IT leadership has been doing for years. But now that we can actually have tools that can research more data than the human mind could even begin to process, we can say without a doubt and more definitively, if I'm going to spend sweat equity, if I'm going to have some of my lower tiers, tier 3, tier 2, and all that, investigating issues that aren't the burning ones on the service desk, this is where I want them to look. And not only that, providing them insights. These are the machines, these are the commonalities between machines, whether it is a certain persona of an end user, or it's a certain make and model, or a certain version of the software. We're now more expertly saying, this is where you should be spending your time, how and why.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then the whole value prop of AI, right, is it's constantly learning and updating, right? 100%. So it's not updated on dot releases. It's always learning and getting better and better. Well, Doug, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you coming on to the live stream to talk about this, to talk about what you're seeing in the market. Thank you for everyone who's on. We're happy to see you. Look forward to more of these from 1E in the future. If you have questions about any of this that we've gone over, please head over to 1E.com. Check out the information we have there, and request a demo. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you next time.